Good morning. My name is Michel. Please turn off your audio just for this moment. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Milene Aguiar from Toronto International, and I will be your host for today. Just a few warnings before we start. After the presentation, we will have time for questions. You can use the Q&A box in the bottom of your page. Please use the option send the question to everybody, not only to the presenter. I'd like to welcome Michel, who will present the webinar today. Michel is not only a great professional here in Brazil, but a great friend of mine. So I'm really happy having you here with us. Michel, feel free to introduce yourself now and start the presentation.
Thank you, Milene. I will just start saying good morning or good afternoon, depends on where you are in the world now. And as Milene already informed, my name is Michel Mathez. I work here at BBL. It's a part of the MIA group. And I have more than 10 years of experience in sanitation, and I will talk a little more about the maintenance contract with a performance part. First of all, I'd like to introduce talking about MIA company. MIA is a world-leading efficiency-oriented water operation with vast experience and a full range offer for water utilities, including water efficiency, commercial and management, and water treatment. MIA provides water efficiency solutions that improve clients' financials and operation efficiency, provide water and wastewater service across all the 5 continents through engagement models to more than 1.5 million people. And here in Brazil, the BBL is an engineering company specialized in non-renewable water management project in the Brazilian market, offering comprehensive engineering solutions of operational optimization of water distribution and sewage collection system. Our business concept is to provide a complete engineering solutions for operation optimization that provide a high economic returns to the customers using management updates technologies. Here we have a briefing for today. I divide the presentation into 4 main parts. The first one is the introduction of a maintenance project. I will give a contextualization of the magnitude of the project, and we will talk about the project. I will describe the work and the scope and the innovation we are using in this project. And after, on the end, you can talk more about positive impacts in the calculations of the actions on recovering losses. And on the end, finally, we say a little bit about the lessons learned and the keys of the success we have in this project. For an introduction, I'd like to talk about the corrective maintenance and the preventive maintenance. We have these 2 types of maintenance. It's already known, but it is worth to remember that the service we do urgently are always more expensive. It is like when you're thinking about a holiday. If you plan and if you buy the ticket, the pass, the tour before the trip, it's always cheaper. But if you take just to the last minute and you may not have the ticket you want, you may not have the tours you'd like to go, and you have to pay more for this or other options. Is the same way here in the maintenance when you talk with maintenance. We will spend a lot of money with the corrective maintenance, and we spend less money with the preventive when you can see, you can planning do the corrective, because the corrective is when occurring a problem and you need to fix it. And the preventive, it's before the problem arises, it is identified and correct. And this is the most different parts of the two options of maintenance. And before talking about the project, I'd like to show a proportion of Brazil. It's good to remember that Brazil is a country with a continental extensions and the population of approximately 210 million inhabitants. And in this project, you are talking about 8 municipalities. One is São Paulo, is the part east, just part east of São Paulo. We have 15 neighborhoods in São Paulo and more 7 municipalities. In this context, we have to local sanitation company that they have to assist its management. The sanitation launched a bid for a maintenance performance contract. I will detail the contract in the slides below, but just to exemplify the magnitude of the contract, we have approximately 4 million people serviced by this project. It's more than some countries in the world. And the purpose of this contract is to help the sanitation company to serve its customers in the event of interruptions and ensuring the supply of water for all people. And the scope of this contract is the implementation and monitoring 56 controller and data loggers by performance, provide the corrective and preventive maintenance, and we need to supply all the materials for this maintenance and do the engineering in all parts of the contracts. The main goal is inspections and maintenance of 277 valves in PRV, in pressure reduction valves in this project. And the total amount is almost more than 18.5 million reais, and the duration is 28 consecutive months. I'd like to emphasize that our company works with the highest security, giving employees all the courses and security, and apply the security policies as we can see in the photos here, and here. This is one of the characteristics of the company, and that I'd like to show before continuing the presentation. Here we have the project, and the project I separate in 4 main stages. These steps are not a requirement of the customers, but is the way that we believe in carrying out the work. And on the first one, we have install the equipment and do some corrective maintenance, and we have the inspections. I think the inspections is one of the most important thing, because is with the inspections we have the data, the correct data from the field, and we can do the planning and the maintenance, and after the studies of the sector. I like one American series is a Dr. House. And Dr. House says, all patients lie. And analyze my little experience in sanitation, I adapted this phrase for the sanitation, but in a more polite way. It's not all the customer's data is true. And if you are making decision with the wrong data, we maybe make a wrong decision and we will spend a lot of money. And for me, one of the most important things on the project is do this part of inspections. And because it is with them that decisions are made with this data, and a good to always study the sources of your data or create your own sources of information. Here, when you do the inspections, we carrying out to create our database, and you have a base and a solid information to do the planning, the maintenance, and after the studies. Yeah, I'd like to show some pictures through the presentation. As we can see here, some examples. As the equipment is underground, unfortunately, I will not be able to show the beauty of Brazil, but I separate some beautiful photos of equipment here. But even when we start the project, we are conducting the field inspections and collecting all the data from the PRV. It is important. It's important to create a route and optimize the work, because here in Brazil we have more than 100 kilometers between one PRV and other, and you need to do the route to optimize the work in the field. And in parallel to the inspections we are doing, you are install the PRV controller and the data logger for the critical points. Here in the project, we need to install 56 PRV control and data loggers, and you need to online monitoring 24/7. All this 56 sector, we will have the PRV, and you can see in these sectors when we have immediately execution of correction. If you look in the graph, you have something is maybe wrong, you can send online one team to the field and analyze what is happening with this problem. And as soon we detect the problem, as soon we can solve this problem. And we have in this first step of the project, we carry into, we can see here in the graph, the behavior of increasing inspections at the beginning of the contract. When we have these inspections, we start to do the maintenance service, because we have the data from these inspections. You can start do a planning of maintenance and do this in maybe the maintenance will be increased in the next few months. And with the data, we can start the planning phase. Once we did all the inspections, we are able to do some important analysis. You can see here, like we can put the information in graphics, more visual to see, but we can see here that 84% of the meters, we have between 15 millimeters and 200 millimeters. And this is important to planning for buy the pieces to do the maintenance of this in this part of the project. And we see then almost 60% we don't have spare parts, and understand that the challenge that the project would be to perform maintenance in old equipment where we don't have the spare parts. Then sometimes that we call the Brazilian way enters for good, where we have to develop solutions to the service. And with this analysis, we management to separate in three subsectors, taking the advantage of the separation for the client itself. So we direct our 4 teams of 2 people per team to these 3 areas, covering an area of more than more than 4,500 kilometers of networks, and covering an area so big with a distribution of PRV in 3 different sectors. And after we have all this data, we can starting to put in a list, and all this information is collected in a list of preventive maintenance job was created. And here I'd like to highlight some very important thing about the project. And for the project to move forward, the relationship with our client. The relationship is so important. I think is the partnership is essential to do this job together, because the priority is not the priority of, it's not our priority is not the priority or our client. We need to bring together the both and take the agreement to do a win-win in the contract, because together we are better, and on the end the end customers win with this planning. And he have a maintenance contract, but I wouldn't say it's a maintenance contract, but we have so much engineering I would like to say that a more engineering contract, because we have much items of engineering than the maintenance. And one of these parts is remunerated by performance, where we must install act on the PRV controllers and the critical points. And we need to monitor all the parameters in carrying out. So in about 30% of the park, we monitor it and to do engineering studies, to maintenance, so that these PRV are working in a perfect conditions. The remuneration in this case is a little complex to explain, but to sum up, if you have some valves working during the whole period, you will be paid 100%. If if you miss some hours without operation, we have discounted. Really, if you have a problem longer than 15 minutes, it starts to be discounted in this case, and you need to carry on all the valves, the 56 valves, with 100% of the time information, guarantee the parameters, and the working well with just the PRV and the critical point as well. And for that, we develop an app to for the task control. This app, and not just the app, but the technology, bring us agility on team communities and logistics. We have route optimization. If you have online changes, we can do online a better organization of the work, the daily work, and the standardization of the procedures. And we have a lot of a lot of people working in the contract. We can standardize the process with this app. You can analyze, planning, and execute the service in this app. You can see all the actions we are doing here in desktop versions, and after I will show an app. But before we are printed the service order sheet and went to the field and fill it in the hand. If it rain, it would be a mess, and it is possible to forget some information. With this app, is more easy to use. The team receive all the routes. It's online, and you can just click on the name of the PRV and the type of the service you are performance, insert photos and comments. And we have already a map with georeferencing of the valves and standardize the process with the system. Avoid the forgetting steps. It's easy to planning the day activities and reduce the time needed to prepare the activity, to execute the reports, and average of 2.5 hours of day. And here we have at the end of the service, we have the standardized reporting. It's automatically, when you finish the job, you have the automatic report, and you are saving more than 5,000 sheets of paper in just 6 months of use this app. Before, the reporting were printed and delivered to the client. But now the information is sent in real time. It's facilitating the communication and reducing the information time from the field to the office. And here, now I'd like to demonstrate some example of actions that we do in the field. Here, on the left, we have the cleaning of the pressure valve before and after. Below, we have the internal cleaning, and we need to analyze of the components and guarantee the perfect operation of the valves. And here, on the right, we have the filter before and after cleaning service. Here are some more examples of cleaning the PRV, replacement the pressure gauges, replacement of the pilot valve, and filter cleaning as well here. Here we have more example of meterings, the pressure gauges, and sometimes we need to create solutions for the maintenance. And we used to do engineering to try to develop some functionalities, solutions to the problems. Recalling that in the current customers park, we have a large part, almost 60% of the valves that are discontinued, or we have problems with the supplier here in Brazil. In this case, we are some PRV that's working well, but we have a compromised diaphragm. like this one. And with a national supplier, we managed to develop a diaphragm with a similar specification, is this one. This diaphragm here, this reduces the cost because instead to replace all the PRV, we just replace the diaphragm. And here is an example of the maintenance with this developed diaphragm. We can see here the pressure upstream and downstream is the same. The valve is open here. But when you do the inspection, the cleaning, and the exchange of this diaphragm with this prototype, we can see you can working well with upstream, downstream, and the critical point in the parameter, in the correct parameter of working. And we made your replacement with a prototype, and it has been modeling since the last year, 6 months ago. We did the maintenance here, and after it's working well. The maintenance, we need to monitoring the project here. We need to monitoring 24/7. All this PRV, the 277, but we need to look a little bit more in the 56. We are paying by performance. Remember that the contract, a part of the contract are paying by performance, and you need to have a look in this PRV. And here we have some graph, and you can see how is the working and monitoring screens. And the team is looking this 24/7 monitoring of the valves in these sectors. We have already did in this project 8 remote interventions, like change parameters, open and close the PRV. And we did more than 100 visits to guarantee the parameters of this PRV. And after we did the data collections, the planning, and start to do the preventive and corrective maintenance, we can start the phase of the studies. And is the phase we are facing now. And here I'd like to show only one part of the studies we are doing is the pressure analysis, but we also carrying the sectorization studies, change of critical points, location, flow measurement for profile analysis, and others. But here I'd like just to highlight that we are much more work already, because we have a large number of no information, and this is because the part of when we collect the information is so important. Here is the real state of the park of the PRV we have here in this project. We have a look in this part. Is low pressure, high pressure, and no information. And to start this part of studies, we separate the study by sector, like the 3 sector, to analyze, elaborating in detail study for each roles. searching for the resolution of the low pressure, the high pressure, and for me, the most important part here is a huge part is no information. It's why it's no information. Maybe we have a problem with the source of the information. Maybe we have a problem just in the sensor or in the cloud. We receive this information. We don't know what are the problems, and because of that, we have this stage of study to understand what are happening in the park and do the solutions with the client. And now I'm coming to the end, and I'd like to show the positive impacts that we have already seen in the reductions of the water losses. Here, I would like to bring back the example that I showed you from before, from the PRV. It's not working before because of the diaphragm, and we put the diaphragm, and now we can see a huge amount of saving, because considering the daily supply of the water savings, here you have more than 14,000 cubic meters per month. And if you're considering as well the cost of production, the distribution of the water here in Brazil, it's like more than 22,000 reais per month. But we need to analyze as well the total amount that you put in these services. Is here 7,000. It's like inspection, maintenance, cleaning, and the diaphragm exchange. And you have the return of the investment in just 9 days. And you can see this contract or this project is a good deal. And now you are just starting the contract, and you don't have the gain, the total gain, but you can did a projection of the potential gain with these regulations of the 277 PRVs. And here you can see is a huge number. 355,000 cubic meters per month we can gain in this project, and this in cubic meters, but when you put in reais, we have 556,000 reais per month. And we remember in the start I told about the total contract amount. It's almost 8.5 million reais in 28 months. But with this return, this savings we will have a return of the investment in just 15 months. It's so we can consider that the maintenance contract is gainful for everyone. And finally, I'd like to leave some lessons learned and the keys of the success of the contract. I highlight here 5 important points. I think one important point is the data collection. Data collection is important to create a database, and as the data is the basis for the planning and the decision making you'll be in the project. It's good to have a good basis to did a good planning after all. and the information sharing between teams. We have a team of more than 13 people working in this project, but the client have a big team as well. And we have a large area of activity. The faster the exchange of information, the better the decision making will be. This is important thing I highlight as well. And I put here the technology, the tech. Here we are using our app and your app, but you can use the technology for you. Technology we have to facilitate your working, to taking the information in real time, with standardizing, with geolocalization of equipment, and we have a more efficiency team management. And when we have all the information, the sharing information between teams, the data and the technology in your site, you can do a planning more easily. But remember, like the famous phrase says, no planning is planning to fail. We need to do a planning in all the jobs. We have to management in this planning, knowing that we will have planned actions like a preventive maintenance and unplanning actions. And it's important to take care with these unplanning actions when you are doing a project planning. And last but not least, the customer relationship is important for a performance contract or not a performance, all contract. The information management and agility of communication with the customers, in manage the expectation of the field, of the client, and try to solve all the conflicts appears in the best possible way. In the end, we are all people and are subject to the feelings. Management this is also in art. And I'd like to end saying thank you for Mileni and Gary to the opportunity to show some of this work and the challenges we are facing here in Brazil.
Thank you very much, Michel. Very interesting presentation. We've got a few questions here. I'm gonna read them for you. If you need anything in the answer, if you need any help here, just call me. The first one is from Ignacio Peña. Thanks, Michel, very interesting. I'm curious to know what was the main improvement done to that valve diaphragm that provides so much better control than the original one. I need to go, but I'll check the record later. Cheers, Ignacio.
Yes, the problem is an old valve, and we don't have the replacement of the parts. And this diaphragm, we have a hole in the diaphragm, and the PIV are open, and same is like always open. And with this new diaphragm we develop here, we can put in the valve, and it's working well.
So you just replace the diaphragm because it wasn't working because it has a hole on it. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Another question, Paul Farner. Michel, very interesting presentation. I really like your app reporting. Please, can you explain which parts of the project are performance-based and how the performance is measured? You already said that it's really complicated to say it now. I know the contract and I know we have a lot of parts, so feel free to summarize what you want.
Yes, it's a little bit difficult because we have a lot of parts. You can put the performance items, and you have how you say a weight different when you are talking in a PRV or a critical point, and with what time of the day it happens. But like I say, if you have missing more than 15 minutes of the information, you have you will not pay 100%, and you have a variation of the payment. But if you like more information, I can send the more information. I have more email here, and we can talk more about this because it's not too easy to explain.
You are telling me that you're telling everybody that the performance is based on the total information that you have or a lack of information. Do you have any performance-based remuneration considering the water savings?
No, considering the water savings, no, but it's again for the whole project.
Okay. Paul, if you need any more clarification for this, you can email me or email Michel, and I can put you two in contact. Another question here is from Marion Limberger. Hello, Marion. Oi, Michel, thank you for your interesting presentation. Considering that you don't know anything about half of the system and the other half is also not looking so great, how risky would you say it's to sign a performance-based contract under these many unknown factors? And how likely would you say it's that Sabesp will continue the monitoring and maintenance that it's so crucial for a properly working system? So the first one, how risky you think this kind of contracts are?
Really, we have a high risk, but the company are working here in Brazil and with this client in almost 30 years. And we know a little bit about the client, and we did some other project before in this area. And maybe you are installing these valves 30 years ago, and you know some information about this area. It's when you have this information, the risk are low, and we can manage this type of risk. But if you don't know nothing about the system, it's so high risk in the performance contract.
And the second part of the question, how likely would you say that Sabesp will continue the monitoring and maintenance that is so crucial for a properly working system? Do you think Sabesp will continue with the work after these 28 months of the contract?
Maybe I think he will launch another bid, but I think this is a start to take just a performance contract, and maybe the next one in the end of the 28 months we have, maybe it will be a interior contract performance, because it's much easier for the company to our customers. The company didn't the bid to analyze just the information and don't care about how old are the PRV, if you have some spare parts or not, but just receive the information. And maybe I think this is will be the future of the contracts, just the performance about the information the company receive.
Okay. Stuart Hamilton, very good and well explained. Thank you. Robson de Mello, are you checking the correct size of PRVs installed? That valve with diaphragm replaced looks like oversized. I don't know if he can say that just for the picture, but.
And yeah, now we are starting a phase of studies, and we will check this information if we have a big or a small PRV for the sector, and but just now I don't know the answer.
But you are checking for this, the valve sizing in the contracts.
Yes, not check, but we are studying of the size of the sector, and it's a consequence of the valve.
Okay. Now I just have some people saying thank you for an interesting presentation. Thanks, Michel. And I don't think we have any other questions. Any other questions? People, we are finishing here now. I think it's just thank you. And I'd like to say thank you, Michel, for a very good presentation. It's a great webinar. I think that is it. If you want to say something else, just say, but I think it's that.
Yeah, thank you for everyone. And we have here my email. If you have some questions, we can chat later on.
Okay, thank you very much and talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.